Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video we're talking about Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft in a very weird turn of events. We're also talking about Nintendo Switch, Pokemon, Ridge Racer, and some ROM hacks. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about Pokemon, and it appears that people really like to play broken Pokemon games. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have been Nintendo's best-selling Pokemon games ever. They've sold 10 million units within the first 3 days of release. Absolutely insane. In my opinion, this is both good and bad news. I mean, it's good for emulation if you really think about it. The ROMs for these games were leaked before the games were even released. You can play them on Yuzu and Ryujinx, and they arguably run better than on the Switch. However, it didn't seem to really put a dent at all in the overall sales of these games, so you can kind of take away the argument that emulation hurts video games. And as for the bad part about this news, the success of these games really doesn't incentivize Game Freak or Nintendo to improve them before they release them. It goes to prove that people will buy these games regardless of the condition that they're in. So I fully expect the next Pokemon games or possibly other games from Nintendo to be completely broken upon release. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and I guess Activision Blizzard. This whole court case for Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard has turned very weird. PlayStation claims that Microsoft is trying to turn it into Nintendo. Sony is claiming that Microsoft is basically turning the PlayStation into a family-friendly console by removing adult shooter games like Call of Duty. And Microsoft's response to this is equally as weird. They state Sony has more exclusive games than Microsoft, many of which are better quality. So Microsoft is saying basically their games aren't as good as Sony's. I've got no idea what's going to happen next with this court case, and there's a whole bunch of speculation out there, but what I can say is it's kind of entertaining to see all of this go down. These companies are slinging mud at each other and not holding back at all. Next up, we're quickly talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on PC with Ryujinx, and Ryujinx just got a small update that you might appreciate. Today there were a whole bunch of releases for Ryujinx, and they ended up at 1.1.736. Within these releases, we have some performance improvements. For example, this one right here with 1.1.375. Relax locking on buffer cache, improves performance in Super Mario Odyssey and possibly other games with high first in first out. And version 1.1.376 improves performance slightly in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Super Mario Odyssey. So if you haven't updated Ryujinx recently, you might want to pick up the latest and greatest version here. At the time of filming, it's version 1.1.376. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about a special version of Ridge Racer, the arcade version, the full-scale arcade version that features a Mazda Miata. This one is absolutely insane. It's got a crazy history, and this article is also equally crazy. Long story short, they were finally able to dump the ROM from the highly elusive 3-screen version of Ridge Racer. And sooner or later it will be able to be played on MAME, just not yet. It is being worked on though, and I'll leave a link to this article in the description below, and I highly recommend giving it a read. It's a great read with a crazy story. And speaking about ROMs, last up here we're talking about some ROM hacks, and there's a great post over on Reddit Emulation. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. They've listed the best SNES ROM hacks for 2022. To make this list is simple and straightforward. Only extensive ROM hacks were chosen with at least 1,000 downloads, and reviews had to be overwhelmingly positive. We've talked about some of these in previous videos, and some we haven't. If you are interested in learning about some new twists on some old games, check out the link in the description below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below, and we did talk about quite a bit. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.